I'm Robert Bell. We're here at CommunicAsia 2013 speaking with thought leaders about key trends in the Asia-Pacific region. Here's what one of them had to say about the developments shaping our industry today and in the future.
Comtech EF Data is no newcomer to the satellite industry. Actually, we're probably more synonymous to telco than probably most other vendors. That is, who we've been from the days of long distance phone calls over satellite. Today we are a manufacturer of equipment for data, video transmission that is used by broadcasters, used by telcos, cellcos, and the enterprise industry. So actually a very interesting question, because each vendor comes with a particular agenda or trying to address a need and requirement in a region. If we look at very quickly, if we look at satellite capacity in the region, about 40 to 50% is used for video broadcasting, and about another 45% is used by the telco-cellco for backhaul. Those are the two major components. We are certainly involved in the latter one of the telco and cellco, and so mobile backhaul is still at the business reason for many of our customers, be it from Indonesia to China to India to Pakistan. That is all right here happening specifically in terms of how to do better rural broadband or mobile broadband, and that is something that today is at the forefront of a lot of the customers, how to do more with less, because it was well understood of what could be done with voice, but data is pressing right now. And so of course the good news is we're also partnered with both 3B and other partners as we're exploring in the region how to do Ka band, and that takes a whole nother twist in terms of how do we bring harmony between C-band that we're so accustomed to, Ku band that is definitely here to stay, and now looking at Ka band also as part of the makeup for the mobile operator in terms of its backhaul capabilities. I think there is no region like this region where we have many regions within a region. And this has history, has background to it. Many of them from the PTT days, they all have their own satellites. We just talked that in a seminar today. Indonesia has their own, Malaysia has their own, Thailand has their own, Hong Kong has its own way of looking at China, definitely has its own. India is very inclusive in terms of, or reclusive in terms of its own territory. So it is the most interesting, diverse area of doing business, because each one is almost treated uniquely in its own way. That's why we operate offices very specifically for China that really have very little to do with the other offices. We do offices for Indonesia very specifically because it is itself almost a business unit, business entity unto its own. Many times same needs, but very uniquely in terms of context, region or sub-region. So it is correct. It is a difficult place to call homogeneous. And so our customer base is also in a non-homogeneous, yet trying to address that is really the challenge. Solutions differ tremendously. In India, if we're going to use satellite, even though regulators have troubles, we were just talking that in a seminar today, it's done all by circles. We do not cross that. There's the carrying of capacity from one circle to another has to be done through the state-owned BSNL, and so it creates a very unique way of doing it. Traffic backhauling in Indonesia, given Telkomsel, it's very unique. It is unique to that territory or that country, that nation, and so you have to respect that and figure out how to do that business somewhat unique in these different areas. Certainly, and again, it differs tremendously by country. If we look at China, China has been now in the second 5-year cycle of doing emergency and emergency restoral services. There's probably no nation in the world that we know of that is better prepared satellite-wise in terms of responder or first responder, given that the telco was chartered with that obligation by the government. And so that is definitely has been, besides mobile backhaul. If we look at in areas such as Indonesia, it is all about how do I bring to the masses broadband, or the extending of broadband, and today also broadcast. The DTH market is just starting to flourish in Indonesia, the pay-per-view market is starting to evolve while still in its infancy stages. So the answer is yes, you still have to somewhat customize your approach, your selling, as well as dealing with the particular growth areas. They're not the same, they're not ubiquitous, and as such, that makes it very interesting as a total when we look at Asia. The optimization is, or getting more bandwidth or more bits per hertz, is becoming a discipline in this region more than in any other times that I know of, simply because of lack of capacity or the right type of capacity. The telco wants certain availability that does not fluctuate, and so C-band is his main. KU is used substantially for other non-critical, perhaps, traffic or more broadband application. And so when we look at Ka band, for example, it's going to be a very interesting part of how it will find its place in this region. We're convinced that there are many different applications, many different solutions that can probably tailor well, given the technologies that are available today, that have evolved over the last 5-10 years, that will make adaptive coding modulation together with better IUPC or automatic power control and mitigation techniques of being able to prioritize traffic while optimizing, and so is very promising in terms of being able to use other frequencies such as Ka band also for the telco, and even possibility for broadband applications in terms of backhaul capabilities. Those who do not make peace with that will fall behind. Hybrids is going to be, I would say, if we come back next year, we're probably going to be talking a lot more about how do I abstract the satellite potential and unleash it through hybridization, or basically certain traffic will flow on certain satellite capacity while others will flow on other satellite capacity because it is required. Voice is real time, it cannot tolerate, and so availability becomes an issue. Maybe that will be carried in C-band, Ku band. Perhaps more broadband will be carried, or data services over Ka. Our industry has been very good at trying to find out how to do that. It's not a mainstay. It's not a problem in microwave. This is not a problem in fiber. This is unique to our satellite. So the industry needs to figure out how to hybridize it in a transparent manner, and we've always done that. We've always figured out how to overcome latency, how to mitigate latency. We will also overcome how to hybridize traffic payloads and apply the right kind of frequency band for the right kind of solution that is required. But ultimately, we're looking for more services at a lower cost. That is the paradigm that everybody's wanting to have. It's just looking how quickly can we do this abstraction of hybridization. But I think that's where we're going to see a lot more efforts coming in the next year or two. Probably in 2016, we're going to talk a lot more about what will satellite do for broadcast. I think we are starting to see an uptake in terms of paid broadcast services direct to home. I think that is, we see it in India, we see it in Indonesia, and so we're going to see more of that. Today, when you walk the hallways, you probably don't see broadcast being that big of a theme. So I think in 2 years, we're going to see broadcast pick up a notch or two. We also will see probably more about how to implement broadband services, cost effective, given the different means we're going to have to be able to accomplish that. And so it's that what I believe we're going to see over the next 2 years, seeing more developments and also solutions come to market.